Alrighty y'all, this is World Class Jerk, and I'm just gonna say it, you have stumbled across the greatest Exo Chips tutorial video the world has ever seen. But, of course, it is all thanks to me. But you know what, we're gonna get straight into this. Well, actually, before we get into this, you should join my Discord and become a jerk today. Link in the description. But yes, we're going to get straight into this. Now, Exo Chips are a crafting recipe, of course, and they are used for a lot of high-end items that you're going to want for the medium to late game, and a few of those key items, but not all of them, are these right here. These are a lot of the items, probably more common ones that you're going to want to use with Exo Chips in the crafting recipe, but a full list of all items that are crafted with Exo Chips are going to be on screen now, and also I will list them in the description so you can see them, and also, I'm going to leave the link that I used to get these items in the description because I used like a wiki or something. And I think actually it might be missing a couple, like maybe it's not updated. I'll put those on there if I can remember to. And yeah, but Exo Chips, as they were, are indeed they're for more expensive items. As you can see, the large shuttle, the extra large and large shredder, and the Hydrazine Thruster. They are not for the beginning tiers of items. They are for the more high end. I mean, it even says it right there. Look below the word Exo Chip. Rare resource. That says a whole lot about it. But without further ado, we are going to get straight into this tutorial, and we are going to explain the methods you can use to get Exo Chips, how to do said methods, of course, and everything in between. We're even going to compare them at the end and explain when you should use which one is better, and when, you know, the basic stuff, except we're going to do it with that world-class jerk energy, that world-class jerk style that you cannot find anywhere else, the greatest video style in the... Yeah, I'm just gonna get on. So now we're going to be on to the first method, guys, and that's going to be the Exocache Method, aka the beginner/early game method, aka ultimately probably the worst method, but not always, so we'll get into all that later. But for now, just know that the Exocache Method entails getting an Exocache and a piece of dynamite, and you can probably infer what the rest is. Ah, yes, and what happens is it will drop anywhere from 1 to 3 Exo Chips. This time I got 1. It will normally be 1 or 2 from my experience, but it can go all the way up to 3, and so that means you're going to want multiple of them. Do not rely on it giving you a high amount. But that's about all as far as the process. But as far as finding Exocaches goes, well, you walk into a cave, and that's it. There's Exocaches in caves. Now, as far as the explosive goes, you will probably more likely find them on the surface in various locations. You can also find explosives in the caves, but you are more likely to find dynamite on the surface, on some kind of platform with some, like, debris or something, just stuff, you know? Like, it's around other stuff. You will find dynamite usually, and that's where you get dynamite. And that's basically it, guys. We're going to keep it very brief. We're going to keep it short and concise, as they say, because that is how we do it here on the World Class Jerk Coming up next, guys, is the second method, the last method, the ultimately greatest method of getting Exo Chips and Astroneer, and that is going to be the trade platform method. Now I know what you're thinking. World Class Jerk. Where is it? Are you on drugs? There is no Exo Chips in the trading platform. There are just the base resources, not even smelted ones. There's nothing you can do to get Exo Chips in the trade platform. Well, you'd be wrong. See, if you scroll down, because you can notice over here, there are 2 dots that represent that there is another set of options. And there is. You see, Astroneer is a second revenue for the trade platform. I didn't notice this either until a Discord member of mine pointed that out to me. And so, basically, there is a lot of stuff that offer in here, but really the most exciting of all is the Exo Chips, because it allows a more late game, a more developed way to get Exo Chips. And so, you know, Astroneer is definitely easier to get than Exocaches, and that's why you want to use this method if you're in the late game. But that brings us to the next point. There is a downside to this. The downside is that it is late game. If you're in the early game, you're not going to want to go to the core of the planet to get Astroneer, because it's at the core of the planet. And you can use a terrain tool in a Drill 3 mod, but probably don't do that. My recommendation is to not go to the center of the planet to get Exo Chips, or to get Astroneer rather, until you have a Rover that can drill for you, because that's so much faster. And I would also gather the Astroneer with said Rover for speed. But yeah, this method is very simple and it's very efficient, and so there's even less to say about this than the Exocache method. Just know that it is late game. And so now we're going to move on to explain which, you know, when you should use which, sort of a compare and contrast. We'll just go into that now. So I have come to realize this section's kind of going to be simple, so it's kind of weird that I separated it from the rest of the video, but I will keep it concise as possible, and I will just simply explain. Yes, the Exocache is basically an early game method. I only crack these sons of guns open when it is early game. The reason for that is because the more you use Exocaches, the further away the next one is. You know what I mean? That's just naturally the way it works. If you go into a cave and you see an Exocache, then there it is, it's right there. You take it, but then the next one's further than that. And so what happens is, in the late game, the exocaches become so inefficient that you may as well just skip them altogether. However, the Astroneer edition of this, the trade platform edition of this, is almost always going to be available now. Of course, it's obviously possible to run out of Astroneer, but it's far less likely to happen than running out of exocaches. And ultimately, you're not going to run out of Astroneer until you've got all the exocaches you'll ever need anyways. And so ultimately, yes, the Astroneer method is better. The trade platform method is better than the Exocache method. But in all fairness, you can't really get there as fast without the exocaches. So they each have their place. Use the exocaches in the early game, and you know it's time to transition to the trade platform when you have a rover that can drill for you. And so that's basically when to use which. And yeah, this was kind of a shorter segment. Like I said, it's kind of weird that I separated it, but I did, and so that's what's happening. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. In conclusion, both are very useful. It depends on what stage you are in the game, which one you should use. And so basically, always remember, I'm the best. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments and suggestions, join my Discord, and goodbye.